I want to do something a little different for December. I want to offer you guys the opportunity to ask me almost anything. What I'm going to try to do is answer 1 or 2 questions a day for the month. So all you have to do is leave a question down below. Keep your questions rather general. If you had a question that you want to get answered, leave it down below and maybe I can answer it. Hey, yo, this is Dash. Get ready. Hey yo, this is Dash, and here we go. I'm gonna answer another quick question. Though this wasn't asked in one of the question threads, this is actually a very good question, so I'm gonna answer it. Today's question, or this question, comes from Henry Wolbrick. So Henry says, great info again, but could you do one, or maybe you already did, a video about the storage and the handling of food during preparation? Like, do you have a large cooler storage with preparation table, or do you make a deal with a local butcher or store your meat until you pick it up for cooking? So he was talking about, he goes on to say he is thinking of a large trailer to start a business there in Spain where he is, but he says he finds it difficult to get good indication of what I would need for setting up storage and seasoning area with the correct tools like injectors for butts, marinating containers. Thanks for your great and open mind channel. Well, here's one thing, Henry. I don't do any injections. The injections to me are for competitions, and competitions are not for like catering cooks or catered cooks. They're just different. So I don't do any sort of injections. And as far as prep, there's my prep area. I have a lot of counter space. There's an island there and my kitchen counter there. So I do a lot of prep right there. You can get yourself like a 4-foot or a 3-foot or a 4-foot stainless steel prep table, and you can do your prep directly on that table, and it'll be nice and sanitary. The only thing I would recommend is make sure that the table has like a backsplash or something so things don't fall off the back side. But stainless steel prep tables are a thing. Now, as far as storage, I use refrigerators. I have the refrigerator here in my kitchen. I have a refrigerator upstairs in the upstairs kitchen, and I have 2 refrigerators out in my garages. So whenever I have a big event, I will get the meat no sooner than usually 2 days, 3 days at the absolute max ahead of time. And I will get the food and I will put it away in the refrigerators here. Once I start prepping, what I'll do is I'll bring all of the meat into the kitchen, kind of stack it up, and I typically have everything prepped within an hour, sometimes 2, depending on how big the cook is. But then I'll pull the meat out in stages and prep it, and then I'll put them in busboy pans, those big, the deep gray pans, and I'll set all of the food in there. Usually I can fit 3 or 4 briskets into a busboy pan if I have to, and 4 or 6 pieces of pork shoulder if I have to. Chicken wings, I can fit 50, 60 chicken wings in one of those busboy pans. And as far as ribs, I think I've gotten as many as maybe, a dozen, if not more. The thing is, the pans can fit them, but they get a little bit too heavy for me to carry all the way out to where I need to, where my smokers are in the garage. So hopefully that helps as far as prep and storage. Again, I have plenty of refrigerators. I bought a couple refrigerators off of like Craigslist, for dirt cheap. And one of the refrigerators in my garage my cousin gave me because it was too big for the house where she had it. And then the other 2 refrigerators, again, the refrigerator I have in my kitchen, it usually is the one that's used least because of the fact that that's the one that we use for my family. The refrigerator upstairs in my kitchen, it's not in my kitchen, but that I have upstairs, that one is more or less a drink fridge. So when it's not full of drinks, waters and, sparkling waters and things like that, then I can store food in there if at all possible. But most of the time I end up having to, take it all the way back out to my garages and get it out there until it's done. Now, once the food is finished, I know you asked about this aspect too. Once the food is finished, I do all of the, breaking everything down, slicing everything up. And if the event is not that same day. Maybe it's I'm cooking a day in advance or something along those lines. Same thing. I get everything done, put them in foil pans, the aluminum catering pans. I get everything covered up. I get it put back out into those refrigerators so that before I transport the food. Now I have a video on the Cambros, which is what I use to transport the food from my home to wherever the event is. So again, that video I should have already showed you that video, and hopefully this answers your question. I know this really wasn't one of the Ask Dash questions, but it was a good question and I figured I would answer it. So thank you for asking. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already asked a question, do ask a question for me down below, and we'll see if we can keep this going. I'll see you in the next one.